Surprise everyone and welcome to a new episode of Surprise Guest with Pia Arcangel, and today's surprise will be just like all others, special in every way, and we have absolutely no idea who today's guest will be, pero I think that our guest shall reveal himself or herself. No clues whatsoever. Bigla na lang mag-a-appear ang ating guest. Nandiyan ka na ba, surprise guest?
Ma'am Pia!
Uy,
Hi!
kamusta? How are you? Nako naman. Di ba may podcast ka rin? Wala ka bang recording ngayon?
Thankfully po, wala po today. So I'm free to accept the invite. And can I just say, I'm relieved that you actually recognize who I am, considering the fact na isang beses pa lamang tayo nagme-meet at nakakapag-usap. So I'm glad to be here and it's great to see you.
Our surprise guest is none other than Anton Roxas, one of our sportscasters on GMA. Grabe ka naman, Anton. Isang beses pa lang tayo nagkikita, pero syempre napapanood kita on TV. And of course, I know all about you. How are you?
Wow, so I've been getting that question a lot, and the usual answer I give is I'm a little bit tired, to be honest, because NCAA season 99, which is the second big tournament of the NCAA. I serve as aside from being a commentator, I'm also the head writer, the feature writer, voiceover artist. So lahat ng mga lumalabas na features and headlines, I think about that. So almost every day I'm on my laptop coming up with scripts, coming up with VOs. So I'm actually kind of relieved. It's been a fulfilling season and I can't wait to prepare for the next one, which is going to be the biggest one ever, season 100.
Wow, Anton, I did not know na you also wear so many caps off cam and behind the camera. I didn't know that you're also one of the producers and writers. Is this for each game?
Yes, every game po.
Wow, kaya ka pala pagod.
Okay lang naman po. It's very fulfilling and somebody's got to do it.
Wait, but when you started, Anton, kwento mo naman sa amin, paano ka nag-umpisa as a sportscaster? When you started, were you really already doing off-cam work? Were you doing production work already? Or nag-umpisa ka ba as a commentator agad?
Alright, so here's the thing. I'm one of the, siguro 80% of young Filipino boys who always dreamt about becoming a basketball player one day. So that was the biggest dream for me, to one day make it to the PBA and even the NBA. Ganun kalaki yung mga pangarap ko back in the day. But unfortunately, when I got to college, I was too small and not good enough to make LaSalle and UP, the two teams that I tried out for. So it was at that moment that I told myself, nako, baka basketball is not for me. Maybe it's time for me to do something else. So I went to LaSalle in college and my course was business management with specialization in applied corporate management. So my track was actually to work in the corporate world. Now, ito po yung nangyari. My girlfriend at the time got into the company that I wanted to work into.
Okay.
So I said na, sige, diyan ka na lang kasi I don't want to work in the same company as her. The other company I was eyeing, yung hilig ko talaga. So I applied there. And then sabi sa akin ng HR, I am sorry, Mr. Roxas, but I don't think we are going to have any vacancies within the year or the next coming years. So slammed the door right in my face. So I said, nako, what am I going to do? And then by a stroke of good luck, I met this boxing trainer who knew a boxing promoter in Cebu who was looking for a commentator. So I said, ay, baka pwede ako dyan. Baka okay lang sa promoter na subukan ako. So my dad bought me a ticket to Cebu. I flew out there. This was back in 2008. And I was given a chance to commentate at a boxing event. So that's where it all started for me.
Wow, I didn't know na sa boxing ka pala nag-umpisa. I would have thought basketball talaga kaagad. Pero teka, nung nag-audition ka as a boxing commentator, nagbaboxing ka rin ba? Or nanonood?
Nanonood po ako ng boxing. I was watching during the time of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. My dad was a boxing fan, so I would watch with him. So I met that boxing trainer because I was training boxing just for fitness.
Okay.
But I'm not really super into boxing. It was just really to get in shape and just trying out other sports for fun.
Hold on, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, ilang taon ka nun? I'm sure super bata ka pa nun siguro.
That was in the 90s. So siguro mga around 10 years old, something like that.
Okay, wow. I did not know this about you. I just always thought, because I see you sa NCAA, I think, oh, basketball. This is a basketball guy. I didn't know na meron ka rin palang boxing background.
Yeah, dun po ako nagsimula.
Did you have to live in Cebu? Hindi naman.
No, no, no. It was a one-day thing. It was a one-day event. I flew there, and then the following day, it was a daytime, morning actually, boxing event. So I did the event, and it was a rush. So when I got back to Manila, I told my dad, sabi ko, pa, nag-enjoy ako. Parang maybe it's something that I want to pursue. Eventually, I was able to get a couple of more gigs. Thanks as well to the late Ronnie Nathaniels, who had a show, and he decided to get me as a guest on his show. So doon ako nagsimula sa boxing. But it wasn't anything regular. It was just every time there was a boxing event.
And then from boxing, that's how parang you got the experience and then later on you applied for basketball.
Yes. Ano naman po yun? The following year. So yung boxing 2008, yung basketball, so 2009, kasi putol-putol yun eh. It was, like I said, it wasn't a regular thing. So I was only getting a chance to commentate on boxing every time there was an event. The rest of the time, wala akong ginagawa. I wasn't even applying for the corporate world because the two companies that I wanted to get in, I couldn't go in anymore for the reasons that I stated previously. So one day I was just in my room and then watching TV, and then I saw a commercial. Do you want to be a courtside reporter? Submit your resume to blah, 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 blah. So I got a pen and paper. I was writing it down. And then I went there to ABS-CBN. I submitted my resume. And then next thing I know, I got a text saying, do you want to audition as an anchor for the NCAA? So I auditioned, and thankfully I got in. That was in June 2009. And that was the start of the long journey that I have been on up to this very day.
Wow, and it's been 15 years. Oh, bilis ko nag-compute ha. Tama ba? 15.
Yes,
Tama naman.
yes.
Hold on,
Yes.
Anton. I like how you came up with the figure 80%. 80% of Pinoys who want to end up playing basketball. But, so you said you tried out for college, about UP and LaSalle. Does this mean that you were playing when you were in high school?
Yes, so I played UAAP basketball for De La Salle Zobel in high school. That was UAAP season 65 and UAAP season 66. It's UAAP season 86 right now. So that was 20 years ago since I last played competitive basketball as a varsity player. It was the year 2002 and the year 2003. 2003 was the last time I played. So yun na po yung pinaka-highest level of basketball that I played. But it's still the UAAP. So still something I can be very proud of. And a lot of the people that I was connected to during those days, I'm still very close to up to today, and I still cross paths with. So I'm very thankful for the experience.
Wow, I can't believe it's been that long since you graduated high school. Parang
Yeah.
hindi halata. Alam mo, yung itsura mo, Anton, parang kakagraduate mo lang ng high school like 5 years ago. Nax.
Naku, Ma'am P, maybe it's the Captain America shield. I'm a kid at heart, so
That was one of the first things I noticed actually when you came on kasi ko, Captain America fan pala si Anton. You mentioned nga, di ba, parang you're a kid at heart. What is it that you like to do aside from, your full-time job of being a sports anchor?
I think number one is mandatory sa akin to. It's to stay in shape. And that means whether it's playing basketball, going to the gym, going for a run. I recently got into golf. Whatever it is that I can do to be physically fit, I do it. That's mandatory to me. Like, I cannot go a week without exercising. So in the time that I have when I'm not working, more often than not, I'm working out.
Sana ma-inspire mo ako. Para I can do the same. Not a week goes by that you don't work out. Are you the type na pag hindi ka nakapag-gym or nakapag-exercise, parang you get lethargic?
Yeah, there's a saying na hinahanap ng katawan. Yung tipong pag matagal ka nang hindi nakakapaglaro ng basketball, hinahanap na ng katawan ko eh. So it's like that for me. When I don't sweat, my body is looking for it. And you're right, I feel lethargic. I wake up in the morning and I tell myself I have to work out. I have to get the juices flowing, the adrenaline going, and I think that helps also with the type of work I'm in, covering games, because it's also sports.
So what are your other sports aside from basketball?
So ayun nga po, recently I got into golf, and that was because of the pandemic. So I'm 37 years old now. And I know I cannot play basketball forever because it's a very demanding sport physically. It's dangerous for the ankles and the knees. So I said, I should start getting into a sport that doesn't require that much exertion with regards to my lower body and physicality. So naisip ko, why not golf? It seems like, not such a physical sport. It's non-contact. Pero ang hindi ko na-realize was that it's very time-consuming.
Oh, I can imagine, di ba parang half a day to play a game of golf?
Yes! And then here's the thing, Ma'am Pia. When you play golf and you play 18 holes, sobrang init. So after the whole 18 rounds, hindi ka lang mapapagod because of walking around the golf course. You're also tired because of the elements, because of the heat. And then syempre after nun, gusto mo kumain. So makikipagkwentuhan ka pa with your kalaro. It just takes up so much of your time. And that's something I did not realize. So sa lahat ng mga nagbabalak na mag-golf dyan, consider that because time is very important nowadays and you can't just devote it to something when you have so many other responsibilities.
And it's an expensive sport din, di ba?
Yun pa. Yun pa. Here's the thing. I'm a little bit lucky, Miss P, because my dad has a golf set. So I didn't have to buy a golf set. But the thing is, I invested in it. Nag-coach pa ako. I hired a
Wow.
coach.
Okay.
Yes. So the coach was teaching me. And the coach was saying, Anton, luma na yung mga clubs mo. So I said, nakakahiya naman. So aside from investing in the coach, eventually I also had to invest in the clubs. And you're right, it was so expensive. So aside from the time, you also have to consider that it's expensive.
So, kailangan sulitin mo yan, Anton. Dapat ginagamit mo talaga siya hanggang ngayon. How often do you play golf?
Yun na nga yung mga friends ko who played golf with me are telling me, ano ba yan? Tagal mo nang hindi naglalaro? You're not a golfer anymore. You don't even play anymore. It's been a while. It's been a while. But, maybe this is a sign.
Oh, because I reminded you.
Yes.
I reminded you na mahal yung binili mong golf club. So, kailangan mong gamitin. Okay, you do golf, you do basketball sometimes, and then you also do boxing. Are there non-sports activities that you like to do that keep you busy?
Yeah, I mean, just like any regular guy, I like hanging out with friends. I like going to the movies, going to the mall. So, I'm really just a regular guy. Wala namang kakaibang ginagawa. Just living life and going where the wind takes me, pretty much.
Oh, but you know what I noticed about you, Anton? Kaya rin, nakilala kita agad. It's because of, of course, because napapanood kita, pero also because of your hair. And so parang you have this parang fashionista vibe about you, di ba? Tama ba ako? I mean, kasi your hair is very unique. Oh, di ba? Ano bang tawag dyan? Is that a mullet?
Okay. Yes, that's what they call it, a mullet. So I have a funny story. 2 years ago, nauso yung mullet sa mga basketball players. As in, UAAP, NCAA, all the players had a mullet. As in, pinatubo nila yung likod.
Totoo yan.
Yes.
Kaya litong-lito ako pag nanonood ako ng game eh.
And to be honest, I didn't know what that hairstyle was. Hindi ko alam. And then, si Papa Bear, Benji Paras, I was covering a game with him and he told me, yung buhok niya parang Hall and Oates. And he said this live, ha? He said this live. And my face was like this. Because I didn't know who Hall and Oates was. So I researched Hall and Oates and I said,
Grabe naman, kailangan mo pang i-google yung Hall and Oates.
I am so sorry. So that's when I realized na, sila pala yun. So the hair, they had the mullet. So I said, you know what? I'm bored with my old hairstyle. Why don't I just grow the back out? So I tried it and so there it is.
So 2 years old na. 2 years old na
Yes.
yung mullet mo.
Miss P, yung mga basketball players, nag-move on na. Ginupit na nila they shaved off the mullet. I'm the only one with the mullet now. I'd be surprised if I saw somebody with a mullet. Actually, 30 Ravenna has a mullet right now. So yeah, but he's over in Japan.
Talaga? Okay. Matagal na akong hindi nakakita ng picture ni 30. Hanapin ko nga. But not just your hair, even your clothes, the way you dress, di ba? Parang you like to try new things. Am I right in my assumption?
I experiment. Let's just put it that way. I'm into trends. I see the players with the hair. Bagay kaya sa akin yan? So sinubukan ko. So if I see a certain brand that people are wearing, especially the people that I look up to, mga celebrities, mga players, and I say, hey, that looks pretty cool. Maybe that'll look good on me. So I like to experiment. But nowadays, I'm getting older, so minsan mahirap na rin kumip up sa mga trends. Like right now, bumabalik na yung mga baggy pants.
Talaga? Hindi ko napansin yun
Yes, as in like what do you call those pants that
Parang bell bottom.
that
Parang bell
cover your
bottom.
shoes, that cover your shoes in the end. It's kind of tight in the leg area, but once it gets down to the feet, lumalawak
Yes.
na siya. So
So-
yun yung uso ngayon, but sabi ko, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna stick to my slim fit jeans.
Oh, but malay mo, you never say never, di ba? Especially when it comes to fashion.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I try. If I feel comfortable in it, then I'll stick with it. But nowadays, I'm realizing that it's better to just be yourself and stick to what you're comfortable with.
And of course, something that you're very comfortable with, like we've been talking about, is sports, which is probably one of the reasons why it seems to me that you guys are having so much fun on your new podcast, which is Game On, right?
Yeah, I'm just very honored that we were given this chance and this new platform to be part of the GMA podcast family. I mean, this is part of it. Surprise guest with Pia Arcangel. So now, may sports podcast na naisingit ng GMA Game On podcast with Martin Javier and Coach Hammer, Martin Antonio, of course. So it's just nice to have sports to be among the topics now among the GMA podcasts.
Who are some of the guests you've had so far?
So we've had Clint Escamis. He's MVP of the NCAA, and he's pretty much the face of the NCAA. We've had
Siya yung naka-headband, di ba?
Yes. We've had Agatha Wong, and then we've had Coach Oliver Almadro. We have Erica D, Executive Director of SBP, Erica D, and Arellano Chief Squad Coach Lucky San Juan. It's still a baby podcast, but we're looking to build it and have more guests on the show.
Are you also very hands-on sa podcast?
Not as hands-on as I am in the NCAA. So we have our producer, RR, who plans everything, decides who the guest is going to be. But in terms of the preparation and the research, yun, hindi mawawala yun. So that's what I bring.
The Olympics is just around the corner, so ang dami yung pwedeng pag-usapan on the show, right?
Correct.
Do you have a favorite Olympic event to watch as a spectator? Aside from basketball?
Man, aside from basketball, to be honest, it's really just basketball for me. When it comes to the Olympics, ang inaabangan ko talaga yung dream team yung US basketball, especially now with what is happening. The world is starting to catch up with Team USA. So now LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, they're all coming together. It's like the Avengers to redeem themselves and try to reclaim their place as the basketball superpower. But of course, I'm cheering for the likes of EJ Obiena to represent the flag. That's pretty much it. Really just sticking to my core and following what got me into sports in the first place, which is basketball.
Well, for sure, hindi ka nag-iisa in cheering for EJ and in, seeing where basketball in the Olympics will lead us. Kasi nga, do you think na ito na yung last for LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry? Kasi si LeBron kasi is 40 plus na, di ba?
Stay updated with Nelson Canlas,
Nabasted ka na ba?
No.
Oh, ako with confidence ha.
the online source for anything showbiz.
Teka muna Ray ha, meron akong sorpresa sa iyo.
Hello?
Oh, ay!
The latest celebrity news bago pa kumalat para sa ating mga updaters.
7 months mo kinim-kim ito. Bakit ngayon mo lang nailabas?
Aga kong biyak.
Pakitanong po kung ang reason ng breakup ni Carla.
Wow, talagang diretso ha.
Ipagpatuloy mo yung prinsipyo na sa gagawin mo, huwag kang manakit, be fair and be grateful.
Updated with Nelson Canlas.
Do you think na ito na yung last for LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry? Kasi si LeBron kasi is 40 plus na, di ba?
It's the last dance. I was just talking about this with my colleagues a couple of days ago that we're living in an era where LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, they're on the way out. Ito na yung mga Anthony Edwards, yung mga Luka Doncic, Victor Wembanyama. This is the future Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. These are all young players below 25 who are taking over the NBA. So we're in that transition period where we're going to have to say goodbye and salute the likes of LeBron and welcome the likes of Anthony Edwards to take over the NBA and the game of basketball in general.
Parang ako yung nalungkot when you said na it's time to say goodbye to sina LeBron. Parang hindi ako ready.
Yeah, but it's also a reminder for us to savor and appreciate them while they are here, because before you know it, we're in a different chapter na.
Oh, so for you, the players to watch out for sa NBA are sina Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, and Anthony Edwards. Si Anthony Edwards, parang he's getting a lot of hype right now, di ba? Kasi parang they see similarities between him and Michael Jordan. Do you see that too?
Yes, I see it. And ako, Ma'am Pia, I'm a Michael Jordan fan. As in, everything I do is kind of influenced by him. He was the reason why I wanted to be a basketball player. And for me to see somebody who plays similar to him, it just goes to show that Michael Jordan's influence goes beyond generations. I mean, ito na yung bagong generation eh. And we see the influence from Michael Jordan who played in the 90s. So to see that kind of impact is just amazing, and it tells me that tama yung inidolo ko.
Oy, that's a great way of putting it, ha? Parang tama yung idolo mo. And it's so interesting that you say also na his influence spans different generations. And I can see that because I would have thought na, kasi kami yung lumaki na while Michael Jordan was playing. But you also still idolize him. So you must have been like grade school when he was
Yes.
playing?
Grade school.
Kasi like my friend, she had a standee of Michael Jordan in her room. Sobrang siyang fan ni Michael Jordan. And now even my daughter, syempre she's only in high school, but she's a big Bulls fan. She has merch ng Bulls, ganyan. Parang you saying it that way na his legacy really lives on. And that's probably why everybody's so interested in Anthony Edwards. Parang that's a great point. What is it ba about Anthony Edwards do you think is very similar to Michael Jordan? Aside from the fact that they say magkamukha sila.
There's even a joke that he's one of his long-lost children. But that's another conversation. It's the killer instinct. Michael Jordan, what separates him from LeBron, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, although Kobe was very close, it was the killer instinct. It's the type of person that will say, just give me the ball and let me take us home. Get out of my way. I'm going to lead us to the win. It's so rare to find somebody who is impervious to pressure, seemingly impervious to pressure. And Michael Jordan was that type of person. And every time a big moment came, he did not shrink. And I think that's what's most impressive about him. And that's why, to me and to many people, he's the greatest of all time.
So here you are, looking out for whatever it is that Anthony Edwards might do in the future. If you had the opportunity to interview just one basketball player on the show, on Game On, who would it be?
Michael Jordan! Michael Jordan!
Ang bilis ng sagot. Hindi ka man lang nahirapan.
Ma'am Pia, I'll tell you a story. In 2019, I had probably the biggest opportunity of my career, the biggest job. And it was to cover the 2019 NBA All-Star Game in Charlotte, North Carolina. And during that time, the owner of the Charlotte Hornets was Michael Jordan. I was so excited to go there because I knew that there would be an opportunity for me to see MJ. 3-day weekend yun eh. That's why they call it All-Star Weekend. There's All-Star Friday, Saturday, All-Star Sunday. All-Star Friday, no Michael Jordan. All-Star Saturday, no Michael Jordan. All-Star Sunday, sabi ko, please, Lord, let me see or just get a glimpse of Michael Jordan. Patapos na yung game. No Michael Jordan. So I started to sink in my seat like, oh my, I flew halfway around the world and I won't even see Michael Jordan. And then, when I thought I was not gonna see him anymore, nagsitayuan yung mga tao in the entire venue. And the game stopped. And there he was, Michael Jordan, walking on the court right at the center. And I just froze and I was freaking out. I was just shouting. Wala, it was like something took over me. It's like I saw God, sa totoo lang. That's how crazy it was. And I told myself after that moment, okay na ako. If this is it for me, if I never cover another game again, I'll be fine because at least I'll be able to say na in my journey in sports, nakita ko si Michael Jordan.
How far were you from Michael Jordan?
I was far. I was in the nosebleeds.
Oy, pero
But
kahit
still,
na.
yes, the feeling was so immense, and being at the nosebleeds, dun ko nakita yung the people slowly rising to just give their respects to him. So that the vantage point actually made it even more dramatic. Eh. So being up there and then seeing this one person walk at the center of the court and the whole arena rise to pay their respects, it was crazy. And to me, that was one of the greatest moments of my career and one that I will never forget.
Wow. Parang I'm the one getting goosebumps from that story alone. Grabe. Imagine that. That's how big of a presence he is, no? Parang pagpasok niya, tayo lahat, stop. Everybody stop what you're doing. Michael Jordan is here.
Yeah, and the best players in the world were playing. They were on the court, but they stopped the game for him. That's the amount of respect that they gave him and the reverence. Grabe talaga. It was insane.
Are you a fan of the fact na he tried baseball after his professional career in basketball? Golf ba? Or did he do golf professionally? Hindi naman.
Oh, he was doing golf while playing basketball.
Ah, okay.
That was sort of like his hobby. And to Michael Jordan, sabi niya, golf is the hardest sport because it's like playing against yourself. It's like playing in front of a mirror. So to perfect it is almost impossible. But to answer your question, am I a fan of him trying baseball? Yeah, because it shows that, well, in the first place, he did it because his dad was a baseball player. So he did it because that was his dad's sport. And he loved his dad, who was tragically murdered, which is why he left the NBA. It was an unsolved mystery. That was one of the reasons why he tried baseball. So I like that he did that because it was a way for him to get away from basketball and also, in the same breath, connect with his dad, who at the time, he was dealing with his loss.
Wow, Anton, I love your your Michael Jordan story. Meaning your experience with Michael Jordan and all your stories about him. Are there any other star player stories that you have na parang ganyan, yung mga mala Michael Jordan ang effect sa'yo? Baka coach or something?
This is kind of a long story, but I think you're going to like it. As a sportscaster kasi, like I said earlier, it wasn't my original dream. But at the back of my mind, since I was a basketball fan, I knew that maybe there was a slim chance that if a door opened, I would walk into that door. And that's exactly what happened. So one of the sportscasters na pinapanood ko growing up was Quinito Henson. And the reason being was of his research. Grabe siya mag-research. Lahat ng information about the players, especially the imports, meron siya. And I would read the newspapers, and then he would have an article about a certain import, sino yung mga NBA players na naging kakampi niya, sang school siya nag-attend, and of course, sino yung mga players that he would work well with in the PBA. So I said, you know what? I want to be like him. I want to be like Quinito Henson. I want to be an info guy. I want to be a researcher. When I got into sports, ganun din ako. Ang dami kong research, ang dami kong information about players, so much trivia. Like I would go to practices, talk to the coaches, talk to the players, ask them their life story. There was never a game that I was not prepared. I always say this, if I go to a coverage not prepared, na wala akong research, that's the day that I should stop this. That's the day that I should quit sportscasting because that would mean that I don't care anymore.
Akala ko you were gonna say kaya ka kay Quinito nakatingala is because pareho rin kayong lasalista. But you're right, si Quinito, that's his trademark talaga,
That's his
diba? Meron siyang
trademark.
Dean's List. Diba? He has the Dean's List kasi nga he does his research.
So eto na, there's a connection to the story, Ma'am Pia. All throughout my career, ganun yung style ko. Oh, Anton, he's the most prepared anchor. Oh, Anton, if there's a commentator that we should give an award to for the most researched, give it to him. And then I met Miko Halili.
Kaya pala sabi mo, I will like this story. Are you sure I
Yes.
will like this story?
Yes, you're going to like the story. So I met Tito Mix because he went to ABS-CBN during the last couple of years before the shutdown. Obviously, I used to watch him growing up. And sabi ko, this is my chance to try to get to know Tito Mix and pick his brain so that maybe meron ako magamit from his wealth of experience that I could use in my own style. And he was generous enough to give me an hour of just me and him sitting down together and sharing stories and him sharing his experiences, giving advice to me. So he was well aware of my style. na ma-research ako, mahilig ako mag-trivia, he was very much aware of who I was. And he told me, Anton, I know you like trivia. I know you like sharing to the audience these little bits of information that you were keeping, and they're so precious to you that when you release them to the world, you're gonna feel so happy because you're the only one who shared it. But sometimes less is more. And I thought to myself, this is new. This is something that I have not been doing. And sabi niya sa akin, Anton, think of it as you're a chef. If you're cooking a steak, you don't want to put all the seasoning on the steak because mawawala yung lasa. You want the steak to have its natural taste. So don't put all the seasoning there. Just cook it the right way. Yung tamang timpla lang. And then he also said, think of yourself as a DJ. Don't turn up the volume too high because all you're gonna hear is noise. Yung tamang tamang mix of sounds to get the right tune. So when he opened my mind to that perspective, I learned and I said, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to try this new approach. I won't just rely on my research. I'm going to try the less is more approach. So there was one game, I'll never forget this. It was a volleyball game. I mean, you also came from sports, Pia. So alam mo na pag game winner or game-winning spike, nawawala yung crowd. Everybody just goes crazy. And if you're the commentator, you can't help it but go crazy yourself. So volleyball game, it was an Ateneo game. Si Mark Espejo, who was the star open spiker of Ateneo at the time, he scores a game-winning spike. And I just didn't say anything. I let the crowd come in, players grabbing each other. I just let the moment take care of itself. And then I waited until I began talking again. Pero siguro for like a good 7 to 10 seconds, wala akong sinabi. I just let the moment take care of itself. And then I get a text from Tito Miko. He says, Anton, I saw what you did with the Espejo game winner. At that moment, I felt like I was able to gather some wisdom from somebody that I looked up to and was able to apply it to my own style as a sportscaster.
I can imagine him saying that and you getting wisdom from somebody with, in your words, a wealth of experience. Pero disclaimer lang ha, mas matanda siya sa akin, okay? But you know, Anton, it's so great to see how you have grown in the industry and in your field. You know, it seems like just yesterday nga, we were watching you doing the games when you first started. Tapos ngayon, nalaman ko 15 years mo na pala siyang ginagawa. Also, it's great to know, but that, you know, there are other things, all sorts of things that keep you busy. But there's one thing that I'm also curious about, and actually, the reason this comes to mind is because kahapon, magkasama kami ni Martin, Javier.
Okay.
And si Martin, lagi ko siyang kinukulit about this. I always ask him about his love life. So I can't spare you from the same types of questions. Tell us naman, parang is there somebody special in Anton Roxas' life right now?
Well, I answer the question first. I am totally single right now. Aww. well, right now, unfortunately, no. But obviously, I want to get there in the future. But it just hasn't happened for me. And I don't know what kind of answer I can give you. But no, sad to say, it's still me living the single life.
Para matindi pala yung brotherhood ninyo ni Martin, ha? Talagang pareho pa kayong status ng love life.
Yeah.
Kasi
I think we work too hard.
No time for dating.
That's probably one of the reasons.
When the right person comes along, it'll happen, di ba?
There was one time na nag-champion kami sa village league namin sa Alabang and we had a victory party. And all of my teammates were married. Some of them had kids. And I was the only person there who was not married. And one of my teammates told me, "You're not married? Smart man. Gawin mo na lahat ng gusto mo. And when you're 30, that's when you get married." So I said, wow, okay. Most people give me a hard time about not being married. This person is actually supportive.
And it's coming from a married man.
Yes. So, I mean, it's different perspectives.
Yes, exactly. Different perspectives. Sometimes, when you're not actively looking for something or someone, that's when it comes, right?
Agree. Yes. Especially in this day and age where you can be with somebody just by sliding in a person's DMs on social media. Yeah, I mean, that's the culture nowadays, Ma'am Pia. I mean, I started, the first girl I pursued, I was writing letters to this girl, and I was walking to her house and leaving the letter on the gate. I was calling her pager. And nowadays, relationships can happen just by sliding in a person's DM. So times have definitely changed.
So 2020s. O, diba? Less effort. The effort will be in sustaining the relationship. Wait, but Anton, thank you so much for sharing all your stories with us. I really enjoyed
Thank you.
listening to your stories, your sports stories, and all your all these lessons you've learned along the the span of your career. If there's just one thing, I guess, the most important lesson you've learned, from staying on the sidelines, covering the games, what would that be?
I hope this doesn't come off as too unrelated to like sports, because I mean that's my line of work. I don't want to wax religious, but it's really just to trust in God's plan, and that the things that are supposed to happen in your life will happen when they're supposed to happen. Like, we're talking about love life. I'm 37, and a lot of people are giving me a hard time about, why aren't you married? Why are you still single? But I'd like to think that God does have a plan. And I do have responsibilities now that maybe can't accommodate a relationship. So maybe it is not time for me yet. And maybe one day the time will come. But right now, it's not now. But it's not a reason for me to be discouraged, because God has a plan.
Ah, that's great. Anton, come back on the show when that time comes, ha?
Yes,
Surprise
yes.
us with all the details.
Yeah, we will celebrate that.
Oh, wait, Anton, before we really let you go, we have a game planned for you. Okay, I'm gonna read the mechanics of this game. It's a surprise. The title of our game is, nako, very apt for you, Game Ako. Okay, that's what our game is called. So
Game
you just
Ako.
have to tell us kung game ka ba sa situation na to or hindi, and explain your answer.
Okay.
Oh, di ba nagche-chess ka? You play chess, di ba?
I do, but I think the reason that's coming up is because I covered NCAA chess, and it was the first time it was ever done. And I worked with GM Eugene Torre.
Oh, imagine that, no? Chess being aired on TV. I mean, when we were
Yes.
kids, parang we wouldn't have thought, except for, the really big international matches, di ba? Pero
Yeah.
for a collegiate league, di ba? How cool is that? So this is our question. Anton, game ka ba na mag-chess with the country's best chess player?
Yeah, game.
Kasi marami ka nang natutunan from, di ba? From Eugene Torre.
Pangarap ko nga na magkaroon ng picture with GM Eugene, and we actually joked about this. Sabi niya, Anton, pag magkita tayo, picture tayo, tapos yung mukha ko ganito. Parang nahihirapan siya na kalaban ako in chess.
So hindi pa kayo nakikakakilala? I mean, nakikita in person. It was all
No.
virtual.
It was all virtual because this was during the time that the restrictions were still there, and we couldn't see each other physically. So we were doing everything. We were covering chess online.
Interesting, no?
Yeah.
But at least that was one doable thing also during pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, how about this, Anton? Game ka ba na magturo ng basketball sa summer camp ng mga bata? Kailangan bata, ha? Mga less than 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I've had experience doing that last year. My brother, who was 9 years old at the time, I had to be their coach because they didn't have a coach, and it was the first time he joined a basketball league. So I just went there to watch. Tapos sabi nila wala silang coach, so I had to step in, and I actually had a good time.
Oh, that's so cute. So pati yung brother mo mahilig sa basketball.
Yes, mahilig din siya sa basketball. At nag-MVP pa siya in his very
Wow.
first basketball league. So I'd like to think na kahit pa paano nakatulong yung coaching ko. And maybe it's something that I can do on the side when I have time.
Uy, congrats to your brother, your baby bro.
thank
How
you.
many siblings do you have, Anton?
So I have 4 siblings. Yeah, so 5 kami. Ako po yung panganay.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
And then next to you, ilang taon?
2 years. So I have a sister
okay.
who is 2 years younger than me.
So just you and your youngest brother who play basketball?
Oh, actually, my 2 other brothers, they play basketball as well. Pero they also used to be varsity players, but they just play for fun nowadays.
Ah, okay. So pwede ka palang mag-coach for all 3 of for all 3 of them. Okay, how about this? Game ka ba na mag-golf kasama ang mga podcast co-hosts, meaning Martin and Coach Hammer?
Yeah, I would probably beat them so bad. because I don't
I
think
was
they
about to
play
ask you
golf.
palang sino mananalo sa inyo.
Ang competitive eh.
Sabi mo kay Coach Hammer, parang yung muscles niya, parang kulang pa yon sa golf course.
No, I think they will ban him from the golf course.
Bakit naman?
I'm afraid baka mabali yung mga clubs eh.
Nakakatawa naman. Kasi I remember, di ba nung nakita tayo si Coach Hammer, talagang parang he's very muscular pero mahilig siya sa snacks kasi di ba inaalok niya ako ng snacks. I remember that eh.
That's
Kasi
what
buti
you
pa siya.
remember about him?
Yes, that's what I remember. Kasi niloloko mo rin siya. Ay, nako, this is a hard question. Ito na last, pero parang for me,
Okay.
this is the hardest question.
Okay.
Game ka ba na mag no sports talk with somebody that you like? On a date. Dream girl mo.
Yeah, you know what? I think actually when I'm with a girl, I don't want to talk about sports.
Really?
Yeah, because I talk about sports every day at work. So when I'm with somebody, I just want to get to know that person. Like when I'm with a girl, I'm allergic to sports all of a sudden. Yeah, that's how I am. Because when I'm with a girl, I want to get to know the person in the best way possible. Yun yung mindset ko when I'm with somebody. I do not want to talk about sports because I already do that way too much in my life to be doing that when I'm with somebody that I like.
Oo nga, no shop talk when you're out on a date, di ba?
Yes.
Oh, no, wait. So does that mean, do you like girls who are athletic or you prefer na hindi athletic? Para talagang no sports involved.
I think it's a plus when a girl is athletic because that would mean there would be a lot of activities that you guys can do together. But I also don't mind kung hindi naman athletic yung babae as long as we vibe and we get along and we see things the same way. We agree on a lot of things and we are able to resolve things also on topics that we disagree about.
Okay, and that is our PSA for all the girls listening to this podcast. What Anton likes and does not like. Anton, thank you so much
Thank
again
you.
for joining us. Why don't you invite all our listeners and our viewers who watch us on Spotify video to catch Game On and to catch you at the games in NCAA?
Yeah, so aside from surprise guest with Pia Arcangel, which by the way is such a great podcast with more than 100 surprise guests already on the show. I can't believe I am part
Grabe.
of that list.
Nag-research
Congratulations,
ka
Ma'am Pia.
talaga.
Yes. Before I came on here, nakita ko, sabi ko, wow, more than 100 guests already. Abot kaya ang Game On the podcast dyan? Sana. So hopefully one day we reach 100 guests, but right now we're still a baby podcast. So sa lahat ng mga mahilig sa sports or to those who aren't really into sports but are interested in getting to know our most popular and most accomplished Philippine athletes, do follow the Game On podcast. It's also on YouTube. You can see the video version of the podcast. It's a lot of fun. And get at me. I mean, tweet me, slide into my DMs if you want. Let me know who you want to guest on the show, and we'll do the best we can to get those people on.
Yay, thank you so much, Anton. And of course, we'll be seeing you NCAA basketball very soon for season 100. Can you
100.
imagine that? Oo nga, season 100. Thank you so much, Anton.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ma'am Pia.
This surprise was planned by the team of Nikki Del Mundo and Aubrey De Los Reyes, edited by Shirley Paghiligan with the amazing people of GMA Integrated News. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till the next surprise!